little bit more. We've got Pranav Gullapalle joining in on the show right now to talk about exactly this in the state of banks. But Pranav, big relief for HDFC Bank, one would say, and a big overhang gets lifted.
Hey, morning. So yes, I think it's a step in the right direction for HDFC. I think at least it clears the way for the CEO reappointment process. And therefore, I think it's a positive development. The real, I think the overhang will lift completely once RBI approves their CEO nomination. I think that would be seen as the best indicator of any of these governance-related issues going away.
Pranav, hi, morning. So while one overhang gets lifted, another one is coming in through Kotak, where the CEO has resigned, and next 6 months is going to be something wait and watch for the street?
Yes, I think there would be anticipation to see what the new strategy looks like, because I think we were just about getting some sense of where the bank is headed. I think they had announced scale ambitions in terms of getting to the third largest private bank by profits. And they had also identified certain segments that they would focus on. And given that these were a bit of a change in what they had done earlier, so this, a change at this point would probably mean you wait to see who the next CEO is and what it means for the bank strategy. Unlike the large banks where it's very unlikely that you'll have a major change in terms of focus segments, etc. I think Kotak is still at a size where they can make a reasonable change to strategy. And hence, investors would probably wait to see what changes from here.
Right. Pranav, hi, firstly, very good morning. Give us a sense, how are you looking at the bench strength at Kotak? Anup Saha also joined the board just a few months ago. You believe that this was a tactical move and there is enough bench strength out there to kind of get over this resignation of sorts?
I think bench strength part, I think, Kotak would have a pretty healthy bench, except that it's a reasonably new bench, because I think we had a round of cleanup at the N-1 level, because you had a lot of flux in the N-1 level. Therefore, you had a lot of folks joining in. So in terms of strength, I think there is no doubt it's still the fourth largest bank. So there's enough of bench strength. I think the key is what happens in terms of the appointment itself, who the person is. Yes, Anup did join a few months back and is potentially a candidate, given that he was a CEO at Bajaj. But we would wait and see how this kind of shapes up. If Anup is appointed, then I think it at least marks a clear direction in terms of strategy, maybe an increased focus towards the mass market side of the landscape, which might actually be a very good thing for Kotak.
Pranav, I want to revisit your call on Kotak because you had a hold earlier. Want to understand whether now the management changes risk that rating, or would you be patient and would you say that this is not a leadership call but more an institutional call on Kotak?
I think yes, we wouldn't change our rating because of this transition. We would wait to see what the new CEO does in terms of the direction for the bank. I don't think this would call for a change in our rating. What we like about Kotak at this point is, of course, the valuation. It's come off fairly significantly in the last few years. And second, there are signs that the liability franchise is heading in the right direction after a significant decline in CASA ratio, etc. What remains a concern for Kotak is more around the excess capital, which is a drag for all and more for Kotak, and also what their strategy would be. I think we've heard some in the recent months, but we were waiting to see more execution on that strategy. And now maybe we'll have to wait for some more time to see what the revised strategy is, if at all there's a revision, and then wait for some execution on that strategy.
Pranav, I'm just going to pause for a bit here because I was on a conversation with Atanu Chakraborty as well, ex-vice chairman of HDFC Bank, and Obviously, this clears a bit of the overhang with regard to HDFC. What he's saying is my resignation was addressed to the board and was meant for the board's introspection. No allegations or insinuations were made in my resignation. He said he repeatedly sought the terms of reference and legal framework governing the appointment of lawyers with regard to the resignation he has made. He does not wish to discuss what transpired in the board. He's only commented on matters which are already in public domain. Appointment of a lawyer is essentially is a compliance matter, is what he's saying, and there are adequate mechanisms, including the regulator, to deal with the compliance. On the Dubai issue, action was taken even before he tendered his resignation, and he says that the report itself carries a level of superfluousness. That's what he has said, and that kind of sums it up. Outside of that, what he has also said is, I will not comment on anything other than what I have already said. He kind of said that, and I quote that. Pranav, what do you make of everything that's playing out with regard to HDFC Bank? Now, I mean, you have a steep target price, a very nice upside to at least what the stock price currently sits at. How do you look at everything that's playing out, and what gives you the comfort that target price still stands for you?
Yeah, I think on the target price, we think the entire private banking set is at a significantly discounted valuation to their long-term averages and also what they should be trading at given their fundamental operating metrics. So I think there is definitely an upside across the board. With respect to this particular episode, I think the best end and the best indicator of what's actually transpired at the bank would be what would be RBI's take on the CEO's reappointment or appointment in the coming weeks or maybe months. I think that would be the best indication because as with an outside-in view, it would be hard to measure or see what exactly transpired there. And hence, if RBI, approves the board-selected candidate for a 3-year term, then that's probably a good enough indication that things are, perfectly fine at the bank. Because RBI has been using the CEO appointment or reappointment window to provide some sort of a conduct certificate for the banks. That seems to have been their chosen way to express displeasure at the way a bank is functioning. So if things go smoothly for HDFC, that's probably enough evidence for investors to feel that things are okay at the bank. And therefore, that becomes an important clearing event around this entire episode.
So, Atanu, that, of course, is the quote coming in from Atanu Chakrabarti. But Pranav, if I could just take a leaf from what you were saying right now, what would be the biggest re-rating trigger for HDFC? Would it be the new chairman appointment? Would it be NIM inflection and balance sheet growth? Or would it really be about the FIIs making a comeback to Indian equities?
All three would be big catalysts. I think there is probably a 10-15% discount that is set in ever since this episode came up. So I think between today versus the potential reappointment of CEO, once that clear, I think that's the first catalyst. I think that's the first catalyst which should drive a meaningful upside. I think the NIM improvement and balance sheet changes will be a slow process. Which could take, a year or more. I think a clear direction of travel is probably what will be the big catalyst. In our view, earnings growth getting back to mid-teens levels should be a good indicator for the bank. But that's a slow process. The last on FII, I think it will benefit all the large private sector banks. And that's probably the most uncertain of the three catalysts. So to us, the nearest one is what RBI does with the CEO chairman appointment. Second would be a gradual improvement in earnings growth. That should be an ongoing process over the next year and a half. And FII, I think, is definitely a catalyst, but uncertain in terms of when that would play out.
Yeah, absolutely. Second that. But Pranav, great to have you today on the show. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Whether FIIs